Let's take a look at some questions. So if George drives his car at a constant rate of 65 miles per hour, in how many hours will he have gone 520 miles? Most rate questions on the test require for you to make a proportion, where distance 1 divided by time 1 is equal to distance 2 divided by time 2. Or in other words, you have to set two rates equal to one another. Basically what you need to do is you need to say, well, if George can drive 65 miles in 1 hour, then he can drive 520 miles in how many hours? Or 65 miles in 1 hour is equal to 520 miles in how many hours? So this is a proportion just like we did in the previous section, where you have to make sure that the units are the same, miles per hour, miles per hour. So if there's miles in the numerator here, there should be miles in the numerator here. And if there's hours in the denominator here, there should be hours in the denominator here. We can then turn this into an algebraic equation where 65 over 1 is equal to 520 over x. And once you do the algebra, you get that x equals 8. So, if George drives his car at a constant rate of 65 miles per hour, it'll take him 8 hours to go 520 miles. Now, there's another way to do these questions that's a bit more intuitive. And you can use a mnemonic device that I like to call the distance bar. So if George drives his car at a constant rate of 65 miles per hour, in how many hours will he have gone 520 miles? Well, we know that George drove 520 miles. So what you do is you write a distance bar. Whenever you have a question involving distance, draw a distance bar and write the distance on top. Then write the rate on the bottom. Since we know that he drove 65 miles per hour, put the rate down here. What we don't know is the time. When you have a distance bar and you put the distance on top and the rate and the time on the bottom, this is a mnemonic device to help you remember that the distance divided by the rate is equal to the time. So 520 divided by 65 should give us the time, and vice versa, you can divide the distance by the time to get the rate. So since we're being asked here for the time, we're going to divide 520 by 65 to get 520 over 65, or 104 over 13 when you reduce, or 8 when you do the division. So it turns out that it takes 8 hours, just as we got in the previous, using the previous method. So if George drove his car at a constant rate of 65 miles per hour, it would have taken him 8 hours to go 520 miles. Let's try it one more time. So how long does it take to travel 900 miles at 120 miles per hour? So you draw the distance bar, you put the distance up top. You don't need to draw the car if you don't want to. You put the distance up top, you put the rate in this case, which is what we know on the bottom, and we're being asked to find the time. It's good to symbolize the time with a variable, or to write time equals question mark, just to remind yourself that you're looking for time, the time it took to go on this trip. And then we divide. 900 divided by 120 is equal to 45 over 6 when we factor out 20 from both the top and the bottom. And that's equal to 7.5. So it would have taken 7.5 hours, or 7.5 hours, to travel 900 miles at 120 miles per hour. So the answer here is 7.5.